Hello, and welcome to The Great Amazing Book Show.
The Three Little Javelinas by Susan Lowell, illustrated by Jim Harris. Those are javelinas. If you haven't heard of javelina before, they kind of look like a little pig. You know what they're related to, though? Hippopotami. Hippopotamuses. If you've seen a hippopotamus lives in the water, mostly. They got legs, but they don't use them much. They like to swim. This guy, though, he's running fast on the land. Javelinas don't like getting in the water very much, I don't think. I don't know, actually. I have seen them in the wild, and they like to eat people's dogs. So they're kind of dangerous. But anyway, this is a book about javelinas. Those are saguaro cacti. See, just like hippopotamuses are called hippopotami, cactuses, they're called cacti when you have a lot of them. But this is not a story of the three little cactuses, even though you can see them right there. That's the three, and they had their own little story where a chicken hawk was trying to... Anyway, on with the story. Once upon a time, way out in the desert, I'm going to show you the picture from it, and then I'll just read. How about that? I've got a glare from this. It gives me a glare right on that pig's face. Javelina. Once upon a time, way out in the desert, there were three little javelinas. Javelinas. You see, we have the pronunciation again. Javelinas. Javelinas are wild, hairy, southwestern cousins of pigs. Their heads were hairy, their backs were hairy, and their bony legs, all the way down to their hard little hooves, were very hairy. But their snouts were soft and pink. One day, the three little javelinas trotted away to seek their fortunes. In this hot, dry land, the sky was almost always deep blue. Steep, purple mountains looked down on the desert where the cactus forests grew. Soon the little javelinas came to a spot where the path divided and each one went a different way. Should they have stuck together? Dun dun! We'll find out. The first little javelina wandered lazily along. He didn't see a dust storm whirling across the desert until it caught him. There he goes! Get out of there, Jackrabbit! You too! Run! The whirlwind blew away and left the first little javelina sitting in a heap of tumbleweeds, brushing himself off. He said, "I'll build a house with him." And in no time at all, he did. That is a hairy little shack. That is a cozy nook with a... Hey, it says... What does that say? Does that say welcome on the mat? What? I can't... I don't know. It says stuff. Number 1, Tumbleweed Avenue. He just made a street, and he's got a mouse in his mailbox. And there's a... Hey, that's probably the same rabbit. Where'd the other one go? Uh-oh. Something. Hey, he's got a TV antenna in there. He's watching TV in his little grass hut. Good grief. Along came a coyote. He ran through the desert so quickly and so quietly that he was almost invisible. In fact, this was only one of Coyote's many magical tricks. He laughed when he saw the tumbleweed house and smelled the javelina inside. A tender, juicy piggy, he thought. Coyote was tired of eating mice and rabbits. Hold up. Okay. Whoa, hey, he turned into a non-real he's wearing a... Hold up. He's wearing a bandana there, too, I guess. But that looks like a real picture of a coyote. And this looks like a cartoony coyote. Which one's your favorite, the cartoon or the real? He called out sweetly, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," shouted the first javelina, who had a lot of hair on his chinny chin chin. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in," said Coyote. And he huffed, and he puffed. Do it with me. the tumbleweed house, away! But in all the hullabaloo, the first little javelina escaped and went looking for his brother and sister. Coyote, who was very sneaky, tiptoed along behind. There goes the mouse. Oh, the mouse is blowing away. He should have held on to something. Well, he is. He's holding on to the dang mailbox. Hey, where's his TV? Did he stick a TV antenna in the top of his little hut just to make it look like he had TV in there? If he hadn't done that, the coyote probably wouldn't have come. The second little javelina walked for miles among giant cactus plants called saguaros. Saguaros, they held their ripe red fruit high in the sky, but they made almost no shade, and the little javelina grew hot. Then he came upon a Native American woman who was gathering sticks from inside a dried-up cactus. She planned to use these long sticks called saguaro ribs to knock down the sweet cactus fruit. The second little javelina said, "Please, may I have some sticks to build a house?" Hau, or ha'u. It's probably ha'u, because you say hello in Navajo. You say ya'ate. There is our wandering... Hey, look out for the snakes, buddy. Snake knows where to hide. The shade of a saguaro cactus. When he was finished building his house, he lay down in the shade. Then his brother arrived, panting from the heat. And the second little javelina moved over and made a place for him. I see a problem with your little hut there. Besides that you can let mice in through that giant door, you have no door on the door. The door is just a hole. I don't know if this is a good idea. You just had your house blown down by a... It seems like you... Well, javelinas maybe aren't that smart. They're running away! I'll read it. Pretty soon, Coyote found the saguaro rib house. He used his magic to make his voice sound just like another javelina's. Little pig, let me come in, he called. But the little javelinas were suspicious. The second one cried. Do you guys know what that word means? Suspicious? That's a big word. If you are learning to read, try to read suspicious. It's a weird one. It's got all these letters in the back of it. S-U-S-P-I-C. Suspicious. So that's a hard word to read. But suspicious means you don't trust. You're hearing a voice outside that says he's a little javelina. And he's probably not a little javelina. He's probably a coyote with a long tail. Little pig, let me come in, he called, but the little javelinas were suspicious. The second one cried, "No, not by the hair of my chinny chin. Bah, thought Coyote, I'm not going to eat your hair. Then Coyote smiled, showing all his sharp teeth. I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed. Do it with me. And he puffed. And all the saguaro ribs came tumbling down. And they took off. But the two little javelinas escaped in the desert, still not discouraged. Coyote followed. Sometimes his magic did fail, but then he usually came up with another trick. The third little javelina trotted through beautiful palo verde trees with green trunks and yellow flowers. She saw a snake gliding by, smooth as oil. A hawk floated round and round above her in the air. Then she came to a place where a man was making Adobe. We're learning a lot of words here. Adobe or Adobe. I don't know. If you want to read it in Spanish, it's Adobe, I guess. I don't speak Spanish either. You can see the bricks lay on the ground, baking in the hot sun. The third little javelina thought for a moment and said, "May I please have a few adobes to build a house?" "Sí," answered the man, which means yes in Espanol, in Spanish, the brickmaker's language. See, in the desert, it's very, very hot. It gets up to like 120 degrees sometimes, which is really hot. Your oven on low is about that temperature. It's not comfortable. You wouldn't climb in there and roll around. So these Adobe bricks are made out of mud, and they keep the sun out. They're very nice. Well, she made herself a little Adobe house. See that? You build the roof with these logs that crisscross over the top there and hold the roof up. The third Javelina built herself a solid little Adobe house, cool in the summer and warm in the winter. When her brothers found her, she welcomed them in and locked the door behind them. Coyote followed their trail. Look, family pictures. That must be their grandpa. And that must be their, maybe that's her brothers, right there. Right there. You can tell. Yep, they're the same ones. They're even standing in the same way. One's taller than the other. Well, she invites them in because it's nice and cool in her house and too hot outside, and that door's awful thin for a real Adobe house. I mean, those bricks are pretty thick. You usually have thick anyway. Little pig, little pig! I'm sorry, I'll change the voice because we are going to be a sick coyote. Little pig, let me come in, he called. The three little Javelinas looked out the window. This time, Coyote pretended to be a very weak, old coyote with no teeth and a sore paw. But they were not fooled. No, not by the hair of my chinny chin, called back the third little Javelina. Then I'll huff. He's not being so old anymore. And I'll puff. And I'll your house in, said Coyote. He grinned, thinking of the wild pig dinner to come. Just try it, shouted the third little Javelina, because she's a girl. I can't do girl voices very well. So Coyote huffed and puffed, but the Adobe bricks did not budge. Again, Coyote tried. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll and he blew and blew and blew, and the house did not fall in. The three little Javelinas covered their hairy ears, but nothing happened. The Javelinas peeked out the window. This is where the story's going to change. Hey, cover your ears, Mouse. Cover your ears. There's a loud coyote outside, and he's going to blow in the house. Oh, no. See those mean teeth? He was hiding them. The tip of Coyote's raggedy tail whisked right past their noses. He was climbing upon the tin roof. Next, Coyote used his magic to make himself very skinny. The stovepipe! Gasped the third little Javelina. The stovepipe! Quickly, she lighted a fire inside her wood stove. What a feast it will be, Coyote said to himself. He squeezed into the stovepipe. I think I'll eat them with red hot chili sauce. Whoosh! Sizzle. Hey, the Mona Lisa. That's a famous painting to have on your wall. She must be an art fan of some type. They're looking out the window, and it says, Then the three little Javelinas heard an amazing noise. It was not a bark. It was not a cackle. It was not a howl. It was not a scream. It was all of those sounds together. Yip, yip, oh, yip, yeah. Away ran a puff of smoke shaped like a coyote. The three little Javelinas lived happily ever after in the Adobe house. And if you ever hear Coyote's voice way out in the desert at night, well, you know what he's remembering. That is the beauty of the Arizona landscape. Beautiful moonlit nights and the sounds of coyotes yipping and yapping and howling to know where each other are so they can go in and kill rabbits. Maybe sometimes they try to eat the javelinas, but not these ones, because these ones have their little Adobe brick house where it stays warm in the winter, cool in the summertime, and they eat enchilada casserole. Because, I don't know, yeah, it's a good place to live, huh? There you go!
That was
The Three Little Javelinas by Susan Lowell, illustrated by Jim Harris.
We do hope you've enjoyed this great amazing book show, and if you'd like to listen to further titles, subscribe and continue to enjoy more of these fascinating stories.